Based on yesterday's lift, it would seem that my cardio of choice this morning is, let's just say it's out of my hands. My quads are obliterated. This might have been the first time that I went to bed, or not even that I went to bed, but that I got home from the workout itself, and I was already feeling that just soreness, kind of burning kind of sensation. You know what I'm talking about. And today, even just standing up from a seated position, which is good. That's what I wanted to do. At the end of that leg day, I want to be able to say I've completely wrecked my quads. But now I'm paying the freaking price. So I might lean, that might affect today's back day. So rather than doing a lot of, anything bent over, be it, even a seated cable row is essentially a bent over row, right? Because it's not chest supported. So I think all my rows today are going to be chest supported. And I've been on kind of a heavy kick with back for the last few lifts, where it's like heavy rows, heavy pull downs. I think I'm going to flip the script for today's back day. So start with maybe some higher volume, just squeezing shit, and then move my way around. I've also been starting with some rows, so I think it might be good to start with pull downs today, or pullovers. So I'm already thinking in my head, and I don't have the full workout planned, but I think I want to start with a few sets of pullovers on the pullover machine. Just, 20 reps, maybe even 25 reps, light, just get a really good squeeze, and essentially use those few working sets of pullovers not only as working sets. I am going to take them pretty much as hard as I can. Sometimes if you go too light, you almost can't really achieve failure, because you can just keep doing reps. So that's where, don't be afraid to let a little ego lifter in there. Make sure you're using enough weight that you can actually, reach completion of the set and not just end it arbitrarily. Right? Kind of a fine line. But it's like how I start triceps. Lightish, squeezing, holding, burning rope extensions. And then, maybe move on to heavy pull downs. I don't mind doing 2 sets of only half the stack with a rope extension, light squeezing, and then moving on to like a dip with the full stack, or really heavy push downs or overhead extensions. And that's a logic which I didn't really, I didn't appreciate until the last couple of years. In my head, I'm thinking, okay, I'm coming in to do back. I am going to save as much energy as possible in my warm-up and just jump straight into something insane, super heavy row, super heavy pull down, and by that I just mean like a real set of 10 to failure, where the last few are partials, and that's all I can do. That's what I mean by super heavy. And then moving on to lighter stuff afterward, after I've already, essentially just given all I've got with those first few sets. Now, I still think that logic is sound, but it's not absolute. Every lift doesn't have to be like that. So to change it up, starting with a light squeezing kind of movement like today, it's just different, and that's what I want. I want my training to be different. I want to come in and get a different kind of pump every lift. I want to get a different kind of, have a different exercise orientation, or do things in different orders. Obviously, I want my baseline, like progressive overload and effort and intensity, to increase over time, really when I'm eating enough food to do so. But as long as I'm doing that and I'm constantly bringing it and really pushing myself, to failure, beyond failure with partials, I'm growing, I'm gaining size, well then, what else is there to change? Everything, right? If you've got a really just burned in your brain chest day, you always do incline dumbbell, followed by Smith machine, followed by hammer strength press, followed by pec deck. Boom. That's your bread and butter. You're ripping that every single chest day. And let's say every single chest day you do get a badass pump. Well, I'm not going to say you're doing something wrong if you are getting legit pumps and you're growing and making progress. But I will ask you, have you tried something new? Have you tried doing it a little bit differently? And if not, well, I'd recommend it. In the worst case scenario, you come in for your 1 chest day out of 100 for the year, assuming you're hitting chest about twice a week, which is about right. So you try one different, you're not going to try one different one out of the 100 that you're going to do all year. And if you don't like it, just go back to what you were doing before. But odds are you probably freaking will. So, as much as I think I'm kind of, smart with my training, and I change it up and I pick specific movements with intention, which I do think I do, at least a little. You got to pick up something after like 8 years and change worth of training. I think it's also as simple as, what did I do last back day? All right, let's do something different. And I think that sentiment is something that gets underappreciated. We're always thinking, okay, I need everything perfectly planned, and I need to know and be able to explain every reason why I'm doing everything. Because if I can explain what I'm doing, well, then it'll make more sense. And if I'm doing something that makes sense, then it will definitely work. But it's not so cut and dry like that. Gains are not just numbers in a freaking computer that you're pumping out values for, right? There's the H factor, the human factor, and that involves hype, that involves fun, that involves just, grit and pursuit, shit like that. That's something you can't write down. That's something that you cannot, that you can't program in. It's just something you've got to be conscious of and try to improve on the regular. But as fancy as I'm making all that sound, I'm gonna come in, get a badass back pump, do my cardio, and then leave. As long as those, actually that's just two things: get a pump and do my cardio. As long as I do those two things well, then this training session will be a success. So, it's fun to overcomplicate, but sometimes there's also no reason to, right? Keep it simple. But let's get started. This will be good. Not too heavy, but, well, actually, no, it's just not too heavy, so that I can squeeze it and hold it for a good set. Yeah, it's a so statement, not a but statement. Yeah, man. All right. Yeah, two more. Okay. No. Let's lose the plate. Do one more, then move on. 4 plates. Little teensy teensy bit too much. Let's do something. Good heavy pull down. Do it nicely, I believe. One more. Ooh. I think one set of just single arm cable pullovers. Slightly lower volume than the last few back days. But after that leg day, I do not mind. So typically, if I'm trying to gain weight and I'm eating enough food to really recover, usually I'm not gonna let the lift from the previous day affect how I treat the next day, right? My legs might be cooked, but hell, my back is fresh. But dieted, when I'm eating in the 2000s of calories, not the 4000s, I do take it into consideration. There is certainly such a thing as fatigue. I think people sometimes overestimate the amount of fatigue that they've built up, but it is definitely real. So if you start to see the signs, sore joints, tender tendons, maybe do a light squeezing day instead of a crazy heavy day. But that's way too fucking heavy. 20? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So this is just to get some more blood flowing to my lats, pre-pump check, and just a nice squeezing finisher. So let's pick the ending song and get ready to scram. There we go. In focus. I can see my own reflection. Let's see how we're looking. Ooh. At least I should be in focus. Actually, let me turn that to 0.4. Whoosh. Yeah, exactly as planned. Solid back pump. Cardio on the treadmill, 30 minutes, 5% incline, 3 miles an hour. Ooh. And guess what? It did the trick. Sweating. I didn't check my heart rate, which typically I do. I guess I just kind of forgot to today. But yeah, whether you're doing the bike or the Stairmaster or the treadmill, or you're jumping rope, or you're doing some kind of aerobic, or you're just counting basketball as your cardio, the point isn't necessarily that you're putting one step in front of the other or that you're pedaling in a certain way, or anything like that. Right? The whole point of the cardio is just to be doing something which is elevating your heart rate. Now, I don't think just getting really stressed out and anxious counts. So it's like, let's say, well, I guess I don't know. But if for whatever reason you're really stressed about something and your heart rate's like 130, I guess you'd have to, that's not even a real situation, right? Somebody's heart rates, it gets up to 130 just passively from stress. Nah, that'll never happen. But it's not about the what you're doing it, but it's what it does to your body to actually make you, right, be able to reoxygenate your blood, right? Your cardio is working your cardiovascular system, right? Get your heart pumping. So whether that's on the bike or the treadmill or the Stairmaster, as long as you're doing something that's getting your heart elevated up to your target range, well, then that's all you got to do, right? So pick and choose what you like the most. I think I like the bike the most because your torso doesn't move around and you're basically just sitting down. And if you're playing on your phone or watching a show, 30 minutes on the bike can pass like pretty much nothing. The treadmill, similar. You're a little bit more wobbly. Stairmaster, yeah. Stairmaster's tricky. You gotta, when I'm on a Stairmaster, I'm holding on with one hand gently just to keep my balance so that I don't move up and down or side to side or anything while I'm pedaling or while I'm stepping, and then holding my phone with the other hand, and then just like scrolling TikTok and playing Clash Royale and crap like that. But either one, right? If you get your heart rate up in that one, whatever range you're aiming for me, if I'm at 135 steady, I'm golden. That's what I end up feeling is like solid cardio. And yeah, your heart rate's a good way to gauge it, but I think it's also good to just gauge how you're sort of feeling, right? Like when I'm on the treadmill or when I'm on the bike, I want to do a difficulty that I feel I'm doing something, but that I'm not burning myself out with. If I set the cardio bike to, I don't know, level 20, it's going to be too hard. The difficulty is going to be too high. I'm going to burn my quads out, and it's just not something that I can maintain for 30 minutes. Now, when I put it at level 9 or 12 or, whatever, usually around there, I guess the level isn't what matters, but it's usually around like 50% of the difficulty of whatever the bike can actually like handle or give you. Usually that's about right. I'm spinning it at about 90 RPM. And I just have this sort of sensation of like, all right, I'm pedaling, I'm doing something, but I'm not overdoing it. I'm not cooking my quads, I'm just working them, right? I'm sweating at about 15 minutes in, pretty sweaty at about 30 minutes in. Yawning in the car once I'm done with it because it makes me tired. Right? That's what I'm aiming for. But yeah, that was a good back day. That, I don't know. I don't like the posing room lighting. I should have just busted that out right in front of the dumbbells or something. Which, a little egregious, but it depends on the gym. And it also depends on how you do it. Tripods in the gym, much more common now than ever, right? Because we're all trying to post ourselves and either just track our own progress or, try to put ourselves out there in the world. But there's a way to do it, just be respectful. I think the worst problem is just the guys who come into the gym and they just cause mayhem, like they're doing reaction videos, or they're just clickbaiting and trying to just like piss people off to get like a quick reel. A lot of content that is made on Meta glasses is like that sort of shit, and that's what gives you a bad name. And what if you just want to record your set of squats because you want to do a form check, but now you have to be afraid of like, fuck, all these scrappy whatever guys are busting around tripods just like acting a fool. Now I don't want to record my crap because I don't want to be associated with them. Very valid logic, but I say just fucking go for it. Put it up next to a machine, or just put it out of the way. There's you can totally record yourself in the gym, but just don't get in anybody's way. you are in the way by even bringing a camera in or like setting your phone up to record yourself. So if you're the type to get pissed off if somebody like walks in frame, you lost the plot, or maybe you didn't even have it in the first place. Oh my goodness, those videos are so funny for me to watch. It's just nuts. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get home, get some food in my system, drink something, and then once the sun really comes up, get some UV. Yeah, I like laying out in the sun. I think laying out in the sun has got to be substantially better for you than just jumping into a sunbed. And obviously, UV exposure. I mean, don't burn, right? I mean, as long as if I'm out in the sun, but I'm not burned, I'm just within a range of like UV that I can handle, and then just put a little tan on, then I don't know about you, but at least over these last couple of months, the sun has been shining, the lifts have been lifting, the food, things are clicking, man. Things are in a groove, and I'm just feeling good. I am just feeling rather good. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to keep up that momentum, get home and play with the dogs, and that'll be all. So tomorrow I've got arms. Tomorrow I have an arm day. Where it will be, we shall see. I'm not sure. I might want to change it up. Maybe go to Pro's gym. Maybe do a big drive and go check out American Barbell. I haven't seen that gym since they did their huge expansion, and I'm kind of curious. It's a little bit far away, but worth the drive. Or get back into the Sam Dungeon. It's cool to have a bunch to pick from. But either way, I'll figure that out tomorrow. In the meantime, time to chill. So I'll see you then.